All right, come on around here, brother. So they can see you. Go for it. Say
Okay.
what you want to talk about religion, right? Go ahead. You said you heard something? Go ahead. You on?
No, what I'm saying. When people talk about religion, I put it in, made my comment.
Mm-hmm.
When they talk about religion, see, the problem with people talking about anything, especially when dealing with myth, because that's what you're dealing with, myth,
Mm-hmm.
most times. Because all religion except Islam is based on myth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they uh, elevate these figures
Mm-hmm.
through the myth,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Uh, so with people trying to, when they get into talking about it, the problem, the basis of the problem is how they perceive the myth, which is their perception, how they know how they perceive it, and then what their perception is of what they're perceiving.
Mm-hmm.
So society shapes their perception
Mm-hmm.
on what they're perceiving.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? They don't have to shape what you perceive because that's already there. So whatever you perceive is what you perceive every day. If that's everyday life. But your perception, that's shaped by your environment and society.
Okay, I got you now.
Mm-hmm.
So say you're saying that the environment plays a major part in shaping one's perception.
Yeah,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like the Prophet Muhammad said, everyone's born a Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
but it's your environment that's going to make you a Christian, Jew, or anything else.
Mm.
That's based on perception.
Yeah,
You
and
see? Mm-hmm.
that is that what you have what you take in from that environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you.
So because we can both go from looking at the same thing. We can perceive the same thing. We're perceiving it correctly. The debate comes in based on one's perception. You see,
Yeah,
that's where the debate comes in, because that this perception is shaped by the orientation, one's orientation.
yeah. Because I always like to say that orientation precedes education,
Mm-hmm.
and discipline precedes knowledge. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's something that always precedes something else. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like you can't put the horse. I mean, the buggy before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so something is out of order. And I realized too that as I've learned that the key to social life is family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how we perceive a family should be, if we look at, as we learn, we look at the correct interpretation of nature. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You see, the stars and the moon, everything is interdependent of each
Mm-hmm.
other. They work together in a system. Yes.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
How you perceive it is correct.
Yeah.
Everybody perceives it perfectly. The problem is the perception has been warped. You see, when they reshape your perception, and that's when you're off. When two couples believe that, whether they're two women or two males believe that they can get married, that's perception. That's not what they're perceiving. They know there's something inside them telling them no, it's not correct.
By
Yeah,
nature, yeah, by
right,
nature. I
right.
got you. I got
Mm-hmm.
you. Yes.
See,
Yes, sir.
but societies reshape the perception of it and their environment and bring it, and then in the type of environment they were brought up in, the orientation they were uh, they were given by through their parents and others. Is how they came into that.
Yes, sir. I
Mm-hmm.
got you.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. Just heard from
Mm-hmm.
brother Bilal
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad, brother. He's on the screen there. You see him to my right. I guess he would be to your left
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking at the camera from a different point of view or so forth and so on. But that's why positions are important too. You know, if I'm standing on this way, I'm headed in that direction. If I'm standing that way, I'm headed in that direction. So
Well, I mean, if you're teaching a class,
yeah,
you're facing the class.
yeah,
You see, so martial arts we teach, and if I want to do a right kick, it's my right, but it's their left.
yes, sir.
You see, so I have to do my left leg for the kids because they easily get confused.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Even though you're facing them, it's pretty much common sense, but not for the kids, not yet. From 4 or 5 years old.
yes, sir.
You see, so you let them know, okay, right leg, kick, and you gotta do your left because in order for them to do that, when you're facing them.
Yes, sir.
If you do your right, they're gonna say, well, it's the left leg.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a little conflict. See, perception. You see what
Mm,
I'm saying? That's perception
mm,
and how you look at it. Now the adults, see, you wouldn't have to do that. See, I could say, okay, your right leg, and I can still do my right leg. You see, facing them. But with 4 and 5-year-olds, you can't do that because they haven't been, developed yet. In that type of intelligence.
Yeah.
You see. So it's the same thing. Here we go. The same thing we were just talking about. When we're talking about how you perceive a thing and perception. So how do people become gay? How do they have this interracial marriage thing and whatnot between men and men and women and women? Again, it's that perception. Okay, how it's been reshaped. You see, it was correct at one point, but society reshaped it and said, no, this is okay. You go back to the 60s, said no. Marriage was a very, important. It is an institution. See, but as society evolves materially, people obviously have kind of gone backwards in their thinking.
Right, because it's due to a lot of either pressure or outside influence that comes in. Yeah. That's helped shaping, what the institution of marriage is all about. It's in this society, we know it's a be fruitful and multiply. So we ain't necessarily talking about children, we're talking about to really be productive. But it's a matter of being reproduction. It's the reproduction of life.
And you're not going to reproduce life if you're a gay couple. You're not going to reproduce anything.
Natural in the natural, natural way of going about doing it. Yeah.
Right. You're not going to produce anything. You're not going to have no kids. Children. And what does that do to the child? Here comes the child now. Under this type of orientation, going to school, he's going to be embarrassed because they say, "Well, who's your father?" Well, I got 2 mothers. What the heck is that? Everybody's looking at him strange. He doesn't understand it, but this is what he's been presented with as a child, and that's devastating. It's devastating for a child to come up in that. Even it's devastating giving a child a crazy name because they're going to make fun of you. Because children are brutal. They're brutally honest. Is what they are. So with their brutal honesty, saying like kids can't handle that. Even with just a name, your parents giving you a strange name, they're gonna make fun of it and have fun with it. You're all upset, you're feeling bad, but they don't see that. They see the fun in it. So they're having a good time. So every day, here comes so and so, they're gonna have a good time with it. So even with the parent thing, they're gonna be like, what's going on with this kid? He got 2 mothers, So they're really gonna, talk about that. Or if he has 2 fathers, he got 2 fathers. It makes sense. One mother's married to a mother. Your mother's married to your mother. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
So that's insane. Really, is what it is.
Well, it's actually, I know a lot of times that one should not spend a lot of time in sport and play, and I know that my life experience, I participated in that due to outside influences. But it's real. We should not make mockery of each other.
Right.
Because we really make mockery of time. We make mockery of each other.
Well, what society has done, society is telling people when you're free to do these things, and those are 2 different types of freedom you have in America. You have that freedom to do what you please, you see, and then there's the true freedom where your dome is free. So America's really telling them you don't need God in there. You see, then you're really free. You see, because now there's no restrictions. There's no restrictions, and you're not restricted by the moral code.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So you make that decision, fine. It's no big deal. But that's why God has also put in there the consequences within your own soul that pricks your conscience and lets you know this ain't right. But you keep rejecting what your conscience is telling you, trying to guide you to. You reject that because we accept and reject things every day.
Yeah.
There's no avoiding that.
Yeah.
So whatever that comes to the mind is suggesting and telling you, well, this ain't correct. You're rejecting it. You say, no, I want this to be right. But what you're doing is, like the man said one time, your own soul is going to destroy you eventually. So you're gradually destroying yourself. And then as the man said, also said, people go to extremes in search of understanding. You see, so they're going to extreme in search of understanding, but once your conscience tells you it's not correct, you're supposed to take action. But every time it tells you and you're ignoring it, well, it gets worse and worse
Mm.
for the person. You know.
So we see that the society in which we live, we see that for most part, people we go to the extreme. It is due to the fact that they are a troubled soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's different than a person who follows a moral code, a religion. God says for them, they're to, uh, for them, it's to avoid the excesses, become excessive.
Mm.
You don't want to become excessive.
Mm.
Excessive like, you know, uh, whatever your belief is. You might say, well, you can't enter heaven. We don't believe you. We don't
Like
accept it.
imposing something on
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
You know,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Imposing
yeah,
something, right,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's being excessive.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like they're saying, you can't go to heaven unless you believe that Jesus is Son of God.
Yeah.
That's that kind of thing. No,
Yeah.
that's imposing. That's wrong.
Right.
Because God says there's no compulsion.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't compel people. Belief is based on your faith. You see, you got to have faith first. Be sincere. So it's based on that. It's not based on just saying I believe and that's it. Mm-mm.
And so is it saying that the faith without works is dead? So you got to put it in practice.
No, no, no. What we're saying is that any moral code is based on faith first, not belief. Belief comes later.
I got you there.
You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
they're skipping, they're skipping that part and just trying to jump right to belief. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how the orientation teaches them.
Yeah, because I heard that a belief is and then I think in the dictionary associated with that with something of an uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. But you have to have faith and trust in that uncertainty. That the reality of it's going to come about, not by you, by the unknown source, which is the Creator.
Because I know that anytime you have it says in the English version of the Bible that faith is a substance. Substance for me is an idea, and that what you
Mm-hmm.
hope for, you put that idea into practice. Yeah. Well, I got you though. So yeah, man, we have been having an exchange with brother Bilal, Muhammad, and myself. Want to thank brother Bilal. Does he have any more concerns, comments, challenging questions before we close this out?
The major concern is always going to be, throughout time, it's an age-old problem. What one perceives and your perception of what you perceive. That's the main part that a human being has to work on. It's not what's been given to you. Okay, no matter what the faith is, it's not what's been given to you. It's how you perceive that and your perception of it. The man used another common term, which people didn't make the connection. Battle between sense and nonsense. You see, that's the battle between sense and nonsense. So the sense is how you perceive it. Yeah, you're perceiving it correctly, but the nonsense is the perception that society is shaped you in. You see,
Yes,
so that's the basis. That's the comment. That's it.
yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
everything else is built on that.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Well, just heard from brother Bilal Muhammad. Brother's kicking, or not kicking, but he's always sharing and building information. If anything that he's kicking the door in because if anything prevents us from moving forward in the spirit of cooperation, he's not for that. Even though I'm not his attorney to represent him, but I've known him to know that he's for the spirit of cooperation.
And Satan's against cooperation. He doesn't want you to cooperate.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a powerful one. The president said on the thing this morning when I was reading, they said that for you to accept Jesus, your Lord and Savior, he said, don't you know you have to hate yourself? You got to hate your parents, your children. You got to hate all that. And I called a friend of mine and talked to him over the phone about it. He said, yeah, that's correct. I said, I never knew that. I said, that's crazy. I said, no wonder why the world's messed up. That's
Yes,
something.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Well,
Mm-hmm.
other than that,
Mm-hmm.
as I always say, um, may we be granted success for our labor and joy for our sorrows. Until the next time, nothing but the best for you. Talk to you.
Yeah, I never knew that. I called Dawn